Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the opening round of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge's 11th season, presented by the SCCA Foundation and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsberg, and right here by my side in the commentary booth is six-time SCCA National Autocross Champion Larry Lefty McLeod, along with Jonathan Grabowski, working behind the scenes, giving us all the best views of tonight's action. Learn to race autocrosser. It's a new season, and with it begins big changes to the World Challenge. Back are the GTP and GT3 classes, but rejoining the series after a 6-season hiatus is the LMP2 class, stacked with the best Dallara P217 racers that we could find. And what a way to kick off the season, Larry, as we head to the Brickyard, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Celebrating 115 years as the sentimental home of American motorsport, Carl Fisher's creation does more than host 33 screaming Indy cars driving 500 miles at a time clockwise once a year. Since the turn of the century, its infield road course has hosted Formula One, MotoGP, and now NASCAR as well. And now the World Challenge takes to the latest revision of this 14-turn, 2.4-mile road course for round number 1 of the championship. And so welcome back to Indy, Larry, and I'm sure that 10-hour drive from Lincoln, Nebraska was just sublime.
Oh, it was spectacular, but I had a lot of time to think about where we would be here on Monday night and what it was going to be like to call this series, and also what it's like to watch the Indy 500 go counterclockwise instead of clockwise. But it's okay. Well, I won't hold that against you. But yeah, so I'm excited for a new season. I'm a huge fan of the LMP2, the Dallara P217. It's actually one of my favorite cars. It's complex enough, it's fast enough, it's simple enough at the same time. It's a whole lot of fun. It's precise. The racing is always good. I've run it in some of the endurance races that have been out there in the 12-hour, the 24-hour, and it's glad to see it here back into the Monday Night Ricmotech World Challenge Series. This is going to be a really good time, along with some other changes of drivers bouncing around in some classes. That's right. You know, now that we had to make room, people say, I don't want to run prototypes. Maybe I want to run GTs, or maybe vice versa. This is going to be a lot of fun as we open up another season here in World Challenge.
Indeed, Larry. So let's do this. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to have a lot of time to do it as our drivers, they're heading out for their 15-minute qualifying session now. But first, I want to turn things over to Kevin Ford. He's going to give us tonight's track guide of this road course here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And when we come back, we'll talk about some of those major changes.
Welcome, everyone, to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today. Well, around the road course here at Indy. Yes, 2.43 miles around this incredible course, and we're getting ready to head down the front straightaway here, so let's get things underway. As you notice, the timing tower to the right, our main grandstands to the left, but another set of grandstands here to the right as we cross the stripe and start heading towards the very heavy brake zone of turn 1, and I mean it is a heavy brake zone. Coming down in here at the start of races, it gets very busy as all these cars try to funnel through this corner here. All right, we'll come out of 1, we'll set up our entry through 2 here, and then back to the throttle through 3. Coming out of this apex, we're going to stay track left here and set up our late apex for 4. Come right back to throttle and get ready for this very quick little chicane here of 5 and 6, one of the newer portions of the road course here at Indy. Heading down towards turn 7, we'll go underneath the walkway bridge. Of course, this is an overtaking opportunity coming down into this heavy brake zone here. Back to the left, we're going to stay track left on exit. We've got another late apex here into turn 8. And then back to the left through turn 9. And then another rotation back to the right through 10. And then heavy on the throttle as we come up out of 10. Up through the gears and through the apex of turn 11. Now this is going to bring us back out onto the oval portion of the course, but just for a few feet. We're going to come right back down through turn 12 here. We're going to stay track right, set up another late apex through 13, and then right back to throttle, wide open as we come up through 14 and back out onto this very fast, blistering speedway here at Indy. Down that front straightaway, back across the finish line. There you go. There's your track guide for the very fast and very fun Indianapolis road course. Thank you for being with us.
And thanks so much to Kevin Ford for tonight's track guide of Indianapolis Motor Speedway's road course. And Larry, of course, Kevin was driving his, I was going to say his trusty BMW, but he was driving his not so trusty, well, maybe it is trusty, his old dame, the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo. And maybe we'll see him in a different car this season because some big changes. We mentioned the addition of LMP2. But this season, we are going to have just a single GT3 class, no more Pro and Am, just one big class. But big change in GT3 besides that is the addition of all the different chassis here this season. We've got the Corvettes. We've got the Mustangs. There's one of our Corvettes driven by Robert Hartley. We've got the Mustangs, Mariano Barrios moving into... I don't know if that's the friendly neighborhood horse or what the spider horse, maybe. I don't know. And I think probably not this round, but for round number 2, we'll likely see a number of drivers jumping behind the wheel of the new McLaren GT3 car as well.
Yeah, it is great to see some new GT3 cars on the block, especially with just the sounds of that Mustang are just astounding. They are so good. Mm-hmm. And the Corvette's interesting as well. And of course, there it is, the LMP2 back in action.
Yeah, indeed. And that's Josh Chinsky, who is a new racer here in the World Challenge. And we'll, again, check in on him and check in on some of these other racers here in just a few moments. Interesting thing here, Larry, and let's point it out as we've got the cars on course, just so how you can pick them out. Of course, the GT3 cars, you'll notice on the ticker on the left-hand side of your screen, and it corresponds to the number boards on the sides of the cars, the big windshield banners and mirrors. They are painted in Ricmotech red, much like the number 115 machine of Bailey Petrowski. Look at that, Larry. Bailey still hasn't lost those internet connectivity issues. Bailey was our Season 10 as well as Season 8 GTP World Challenge champion, and he's moving over to the GT cars. And then we've got our GTP drivers, of course, and you can pick out the GTP cars, and I think this is probably going to be the most important part, to try and pick out the GTP from the LMP2 cars. The GTP machines, like the Porsche of Tanner Dibble right here, the number 963 car, they have black number boards and mirrors and end plates on the wings and windshield banners, as opposed to the LMP2 Delaras. And this is where we shouldn't get confused, although we've got them in green on the ticker on the left-hand side of your screen. When you see them on track, they will have blue number boards, blue mirror pods, and end plates on the wings and windshield banners as well.
A little bit more difficult to distinguish, but we'll manage tonight, of course. A lot of the ones you'll see, all the LMP2s at least do look the same, but we'll have to just get into who's driving which livery, and we'll go by that tonight. But it's going to be pretty exciting. Good field here, as you mentioned already. Bailey Petrowski, previously running one of our prototypes, has jumped into the GT ranks and jumped to the top here early in qualifying, just ahead of the Orion team, it seems. Damage, Mikey, Hartley, and Jagoda all lined up in that new C8 Corvette. But Bailey in the Ford right now top of the leaderboard there in GT3.
Yeah, interesting to see the Orion team moving over from the Porsches that they had been running in the last couple of seasons in the World Challenge, and moving over to the Corvettes. We know D2D that has been, in a couple of different chassis. Larry, they have, I think, focused on the Ford Mustang, and we have a number of drivers in new chassis this season. I think another racer moving over. There's Jeff Jacobs, for example. We typically see him in his BMW M3, and this season he's moving over to the Chevy Corvette GT3, and I think we're going to be talking to Jeff here pre-race. Hopefully, we'll talk to him in just a few moments. But I was looking, Larry, and out of a field of 54 drivers here for round number 1, 19 rookies to the World Challenge here today. So just a little bit less than, I guess a little bit more than a third of the field new to the series. So great to see them out here as we are watching right now. Who are we watching right now? This is Adam Johnson, currently sitting 7th in GTP in the number 319 Cadillac. And he is looking to improve upon his 115.29. If he can knock off 5 hundredths of a second, he should be able to leapfrog Ryan Reisman. Johnson racing for the wrong stuff this season in that Cadillac, and with that pretty typical wrong stuff livery there, Larry.
Yeah, it looks incredible. Love the splash of colors there on the wrong stuff. To me, that's the right stuff. I love a good, bright and powerful and bold livery on a car. That's the way it should be. As he does move up there to 6th on the order there in GTP so far.
There you go. Gets around Ryan Reisman from DNA Motorsports. Also, Reisman driving in one of the Cadillacs as well. Let's jump over here in the field. We're looking at another one of our rookies driving the number 277 Ferrari. This is Joe Nagy from Rockefeller. And there you go, Larry. The little variation on the Oreo cookie livery that you love so much, going from the white and black to the silver and black, awfully hot there. And tell you what, we'll follow Joe Nagy along, but Jeff Jacobs, who just wrapped up qualifying in his Chevy Corvette, and set himself. Where did he put himself? We'll find that in just a second. But let's do this. Let's bring in Jeff Jacobs from the SCCA Foundation. He's also one of the league administrators here, Larry. I think he's going to tell us quite a bit about season number 11.
All right, joining us here pre-race is Jeff Jacobs. And Jeff, Greg and I have been going on about some of the changes in this. We've talked about how the new cars, the Mustangs, the Corvettes, how LMP2 is back in action. I guess from your side, putting this all together, what does it take behind the scenes to be able to put together a fresh season with all these changes and all these new names?
Yeah, well, hey, thanks a lot. Great to see you guys back for another season here. And yeah, we're really excited. Obviously, the participation, wow, kind of blew us away. Registration was full within like 3 days, and we're kind of excited about the new prototype class out here. We had the GTP cars in the prior season. We had some drivers saying, man, I sure would like to drive the LMP2 cars, so we got that in here as a new class this season. And then, you look at the GT3 field. Obviously, our biggest field here, we probably could have done a series of just GT3 cars, but with a lot of enthusiasm for the Corvette and the Mustang, and then of course today, iRacing releasing that McLaren, and it's been getting great reviews. So we could even see a little different field next week.
Yeah, it's amazing. We'll be able to get that in as well in the season. Very cool to hear that as the iRacing season just about overlaps with the start of the World Challenge season here. So that's kind of neat. But also this season, I think we've got some more prizes that we're giving away as we're just getting kicked off here tonight. But by around the end of the season, we're going to give away some pretty good things for some folks that could win.
Yes, we're really excited to have Buttkicker back with us again, providing that gaming system. And the way we work that prize is as the drivers earn their championship points throughout the season, each point essentially counts as an entry in the drawing. And we have a sort of a randomizer that we enter in entries for each driver based on their total championship points for the season, and it'll draw a winner. So that way, you could be your season champion, and you're going to have the most chances to win, but you could also finish 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, or in the GT3 field, 30th, I suppose, and still have a chance to win that Buttkicker prize. And I know each and every one of the drivers who have won that over the past 4 seasons have been thrilled about the feedback, that it gives them and the way it kind of enhances their sim racing experience. And then Ricmotech, our longtime series sponsor, they're out of Miami. They have stepped up with a $100 Ricmo bump. So essentially a $100 gift certificate there for shopping on the Ricmotech website. And same thing, we'll do the drawing based on championship points for that.
Yeah, that's great. Great to have a couple of those prizes there that these folks can win, and kind of waiting for the day when maybe the commentators can get their name in the hat for those, but probably a few years off from that. Got to play to win, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. So going into this season, I'll ask you, because it looks like you've changed cars this season. I think I saw a bow tie next to your name there.
Yeah, I thought I would try out the new Corvette. That seemed like a fun car, and my teammate Russ there was willing to give up the BMW and try something a little bit different. So we're trying out the Corvette along with several other folks. And one of the things I think is going to be interesting, and you can kind of see it in the qualifying results already. Bailey Piotrowski, we were not used to seeing him at the front of that prototype field. Well, we're seeing a familiar theme here as he's at the front of the GT3 field. But Mike Dam, Robert Hartley, Travis, those guys are going to try to give him a run for his money, I suspect.
I think so as well. Looks like Bailey's adapting very well to a GT car. Not a surprise, probably to anybody, that he was able to jump from prototypes into the GTs and be right in the mix. But I think it's going to be a pretty deep field. It's just a whole large group of GT3s that'll be fighting it out this season. Be pretty excited, but it looks like a lot of maybe it's having the LMP2, maybe it's having the new cars, but there is a lot of buzz, a lot of new names that are signing up here. My recollection, this might be the most number of rookies we've ever seen.
I think that's right. But I've been impressed with the practices so far. Great participation, and I think we'll see it out there on track as well.
Well, I know we're super excited. I know you are as well. So good luck tonight, and let's see how this first night kicks off.
Well, thanks so much.
All right, there you go, everybody. Jeff Jacobs, driver of the number 38 Chevrolet Corvette. It's going to take me a lot. I had enough trouble adjusting from the Mercedes to the BMW, now to the Corvette. Jeff, and I did find Jeff currently qualified, I'm sure not where he wants to be, 29th in a stacked GT3 field. As he mentioned, we've got a huge GT3 field, I think 36 cars deep. So it's going to be a tough night. I'm
showing 54 cars that are signed up here tonight that have joined the session. I believe they should all make the grid. We'll see how that goes, but massive field. It's going to be an amazing start to this new season.
Yeah, I'm so hyped to see, Larry, when all the GT cars make their way down into turn 1 to that huge elevation change in Indianapolis where the track drops down at least 1.5 feet.
At least, maybe it's 2 feet.
Maybe it's 2 feet.
How high is the banking again? It's about that much elevation change.
Exactly. All right, qualifying, Larry, is wrapped up, and we're going to be able to see them heading down into turn 1 here momentarily as we've got our drivers starting to grid up. If you'll take the prototypes, I'll handle the GT cars.
Sure thing, no problem. All right, so starting out the prototypes, he's won championships before. He's going to lead us down. Can we see the green flag the first time in this new season? This is Tanner Dibble from DNA Motorsports. And alongside Tanner on the outside of row 1 is going to be his teammate, Jordan Butler. On row 2 on the inside from Sector 5 Racing, we've got Jim Pfeiffer starting out the season well here on row 2, lined up alongside the fastest of the D2D drivers, Bobby Childs. Row 3 on the inside, Dalton Frederick from Phantom Power Racing. We lined up alongside one of that beautiful livery cars, Adam Johnson from The Wrong Stuff. On row 4, it's going to be on the inside, another DNA Motorsports entry, Ryan Reisman. And he'll be lined up with another Phantom Power Racing driver, Jake Zito. Finally, on row 5 of the LMP1s, or the GTPs, we've got Jair Alvarado from The Wrong Stuff Racing. And that gets us to our LMP2s. On the first of those, I think these guys are all actually leading the line together here, so they'll be rid of, I think, all the prototypes, if I have that right. Josh Chinsky from SRT Esports. He should be on the outside of row 5. On row 6, on the inside, Caleb Lehman from SRT Esport, alongside one of our Rockefeller drivers, Charlie Hosea. On row 7, on the inside, it's going to be Aaron Beaver, another Rockefeller Racing driver, alongside Avon Dorsey, one of his teammates. On row 8, it's going to be Josh Fidel, Phantom Power Racing, alongside Dave Manoa from SRT Esport. And finally on row 9, Baron Glover from The Wrong Stuff alongside Trash Panda Sim Racing, Joe Hutchins.
Oh, Trash Pandas, love it. All right, let's move over to the GT3s tonight, where you saw it. Our Season 8 and Season 10 GTP champion, Bailey Petrowski, puts his D2D Sim Racing Mustang on pole for the very first time. He's going to start alongside Mike Dam from Orion Racing in his Chevy Corvette. Row number 2 is going to be all Orion, with Robert Hartley starting in 3rd, Travis Schwenke in 4th. Row number 3, John Kroom from Rockefeller Racing with Leo Dragoda. Then we jump over to row number 4, and it is Mariano Barrios for Walking Pace Racing, Larry, not your friendly neighborhood team any longer, with Eric Palacio from SRT Esport starting there right beside him. Then we've got Dave Richards and Stacy Bertrand. Richards from Walking Pace Racing along with Barrios, Stacy Bertrand for Rockefeller. Good to see her out, see Stacy out here. Then we've got Alex Brown from Eagle Beavers along with Zach Mosley, Ilya Speaker and Taj Edwards, Brian Bennett and Ryan Reeves, and Chase West along with Walter Caton. And let's go to the next row, where we've got Keith Stein from Rockefeller and Jeff Brooks from The Wrong Stuff, Robert Schwenkler and Chris Thorman from The Wrong Stuff and D2D. And Larry, I'm going to go. We've still got a number of drivers left, but I'm going to pick up the field here as they're making their way through turn number 14 as the pace car has made its way onto the pit lane. Just a reminder, everybody, tonight's race stewards and live starter are provided by the SCCA Foundation, providing funding for the SCCA Academy, training for the next generation of workers and volunteers that make real-life racing events possible. Green flag is in the air, Larry, and Season 11 is underway and heading down into Turn 1 for the very first time. It is, who is it, Larry? It
Dibble.
is Tanner Dibble, Jordan Butler, Jim Pfeiffer, and Bobby Childs. Oh, and we've got a big wreck here coming through turn number 3. As our prototype cars are getting, oh wow, what a mess there, Larry. We'll get the numbers on those cars here momentarily.
Yeah, Jordan Butler definitely involved in that. There was some sliding going on, some contact there. Big field of prototypes, but the GT3s are underway, and they're going to be catching those prototypes if they're not out of the way.
Indeed, Larry, and as they head down into now turn number 4, the last straight 100, then 5 and 6, this quick little chicane. It's Bailey Petrowski, Mike Dam, and now it is three Orion racers, Hartley, Schwenke, and Leo Dragoda, all trying to jockey for 3rd position. They now have Mariano Barrios in his Ford directly behind in the 177 car with Eric Palacio, as they are now making through that very tight.
And we are going yellow.
Segment there, turn 7, 8, and 9 is, yep, we're going full course caution.
Yeah, a lot of that chaos there in the prototypes, I think, set things off and got things a little bit out of pace. 54 cars on track. That's part of what happens. We also had, as you can see here, a bit of a schmozzle at the back of the GT. There's Joe Nagy, one of the Rockefeller driving in his Ferrari, having some issues there. He's got some substantial damage. He was not the only one. It's just a few cars caught up in that. So yeah, we're going to let things reset, let things settle. Typically, they'll go back to a split start again, single file though. See how many laps do we do behind the safety cars. You can see the prototypes appear to be all bunched. We'll get the GT3s bunched in the same way. And again, typically single file restarts. Probably historically what we normally would have 3 laps maybe of yellow, possibly a 4th. There's issues with the field, but a little replay here. Michael Caffrey in that Mercedes gets caught on the outside. There was an accordion in front. There's just nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. Again, going into turn 1, it's so difficult, Larry, and you and I have called races here in real life as well. When you can go 5 cars wide into turn 1, and that turn is a 90-degree turn, and it funnels down to essentially 2 cars wide, maybe at best, it just creates chaos.
Yep, and there you can see exactly that chaos happening. You funnel down, accordion effect. You can't see it because the pit wall basically sticks out, so it's hard to even see around the corner. If early in the pack tends to have a bunch up, the late in the pack is going to get in there. That seems to be what happened. The only, I guess, bonus here is maybe the speeds were slow enough that some of the cars are going to be able to continue. Obviously, we saw not all of them. There's a few of them already, like Joe Nagy's already been in the pits, but maybe we can get this back underway within about 2 to 3 laps.
Yeah, and I think we've got Ryan Reeves in his Mustang in the pits as well. And the call from race control areas that this was going to be a fairly quick full course caution period, that the pit lane was not going to open. So we'll see how things play out here.
Yeah,
and
we'll
there
see.
are not
It is
going to
early
be any
on
wave
enough.
buys either.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to benefit from having the pits open other than if they've got to take on repairs.
Right.
We haven't quite gotten the fuel strategies tonight, but in general, with these 75-minute races, one stop pretty much for everybody. When we get to the 90-minute races later in the season, perhaps an instance like this could help some people to come in for an early stop. But here in the 75-minute, everyone's pretty much in the same boat here with a lap 1 yellow. So I see Ken Copeland's joined us in the chat. Good to see Ken out there, one of the faster racers in all of our Monday Night Series. I guess he's taken tonight or taken the season off and decided just to spectate.
Well, looking at his comment, I think he's enjoying his time on the couch.
He may be happy with his decision to spectate.
Yes.
Although I suspect Ken would have been near the front of his field and perhaps not as susceptible to Schmazel. One of my favorite ones.
All right, and we're experiencing a few issues with our timing and scoring system here, Larry. I know we're showing, I think it's getting updated as we speak, as we're seeing.
So the way that our tickers work when they're on the screen, it's whichever class has the faster lap gets listed first. Well, in the case of a full course caution, sometimes things get a little order. It looks like it's reset itself now, but typically you'd normally see GT3, then LMP2, then the GTP normally is the fastest, but they would have gotten the earlier start and ended up with the slowest lap time. So that'll reset itself eventually. You'll see that black list of numbers.
Yeah, I think we're getting everything back in order here.
Yeah. It's slow to recover. That's part of the deal, but it's okay. We'll get underway. Good shot there of Dalton Fredericks. Currently sitting up in third, so good start for him. And then Bobby Childs, the nice D2D livery there. He's up in the second spot. I know he actually does
the second
deliveries for
position.
D2D. Yeah, good start.
As we go on board with Bobby.
Yeah, so in the opening lap, it was Jim Pfeiffer that seemed to suffer the most. I believe he started up, was he on the front row? Or second row? He started inside of row 2. He's dropped down to about 9th, I think, in this current order. So he struggled a little bit. Jordan Butler lost a couple spots on that opening lap here in the prototype, so some shuffling happening now to get things ordered, but
yeah, I think although there were no wave runs, I think basically what they were doing is ensuring that all of the LMP2 and GTP cars were ahead of the GT3 cars for when they get the restart.
I believe they even sorted a couple of GTPs to put them in front of all the LMP2s. So I think that was the last of the shuffle, which makes Caleb Lehman our current leader. And there's Jordan Butler. You can see him on the inside there at turn 2. And he actually gets the spin. I think he started to spin in defense of Pfeiffer there. I think Jordan may have started the spin on his own and then had a little help finishing.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there is, as Pfeiffer was coming around, there wasn't really anywhere to put the nose of the car. Again, it gets so tight just between turns 1 and turn 2 before things start opening up again. So waiting on the stewards to let us know exactly how many more laps. I still see lights on the safety cars. We're going to get at least another one here while they get things sorted out. Looks like they do have the GTPs, 9 of them in their grouping, 9 LMP2s in their grouping, and then Bailey Petrowski currently leading the way in the GT3s. We'll see if there's any more shuffling, or perhaps, fingers crossed, maybe one more lap and then maybe green. We'll see here. And again, the drivers have been told that unless they have a meatball, they are not to take to the pit lane.
Yeah, it sounds like they're
all right.
telling
Lights
drivers,
out on the pace car.
Yeah. So 1 lap to go. Yeah, they're telling drivers that if they have damage to repair, they'd like them to do that on the green flag lap. Looks like everyone's complying with that. I don't see anybody going in that isn't already in. Basically, if you had to take a tow, then you're in. Otherwise, I don't see too much damage off the field. That could be
it looks like Stacy Bertrand is heading into the pits as best we can tell. And again, Joe Nagy still in the pits in his Ferrari, and I think John Kroom in his Ferrari. It looks like he may have left the session.
Okay. Nice paint scheme for that Rockefeller Racing entry there in Bertrand with the red on one side and the black and silver. I like that color.
I do.
Good choice for
a lot. I mean, and by the end of the night, I won't be as hungry because I won't be looking at Oreo cookies the whole evening. Getting word from race control that there are penalties that have been, some of these incidents have been adjudicated. Penalties will be assigned. We're going to get the race back underway before our racers get word on what those penalties are.
Yeah, they will look at, for those maybe that are new to this D series through the Ricmotech group here, they can issue penalties for causing contact. They can also issue start penalties should you deviate from your starting line prior to the start zone or launching earlier than the manual starter allows. And unfortunately, often when we've got rookies in the league, they're not quite as familiar with that. We got a big number of rookies. They're all going to have to kind of be cautious that they didn't jump those starts. They'll get used to it by week 2. I think the stewards now are kind of going through those potential penalties here. But always something we find for the first race of every season. Somebody jumps out of line and realize they went early.
All right, so as we look at the field now, look at Bailey Petrowski leading the GTP field down into, I don't want to call it a chicane, but into the complex over at 7, 8, and 9. Now, Larry, it's a Mustang at the front of the field, and then we've got the 4 Orion racers directly behind D2D sim racer Bailey Petrowski, Mike Dam, Hartley, Schwenke, and Dragota, and then we've got Eric Palacio in the Ferrari in the number 30, the 39 machine there. Palacio racing for. Pardon me, I'll have to, and you'll have to excuse me as we've got a whole bunch of new drivers here. Eric Palacio running for SRT Esport, and then then he has a bunch of Fords behind him. So the one Italian there right in the field running in 6th and GT here as we get ready as the field now coming on to the front straight here. And green flag has been given, and we are back underway. And once that green flag is given, Larry, they don't have to wait to the start-finish line to make a pass here on a restart. They're going to head down into turn 1. Tanner Dibble in the 963 Porsche. He's going to lead the way. Then side-by-side, Dalton Fredericks and Bobby Childs. And it looks like they both get through there safely. Looks like, and I don't want to say anything yet, but looks like most of the field has made their way through. Yeah.
Sorting things out. Everybody's taking a fair breath, and now we do our GT3 field. And I tell you, Billy Petrowski's got to feel like the rabbit at the dog races with those Orion Corvettes all coming after him. But the new Mustangs are a little heavier than a normal rabbit as he makes his way into turn 1, and all those big dogs and Corvettes coming after him. And I even see a Ferrari up in that mix.
That's Palacio.
Palacio,
exactly. And we saw it there where.
Oh, wow, what a move for Palacio. Up the inside of Rob Hartley.
He's going up the inside. Oh, it's getting very tight there as Palacio comes right across the nose of Hartley, coming out of coming through turns 5 and 6 through that little chicane. We also have a little bit further back, Mariano Barrios. He's sitting right behind that pair there as they are still door to door. And I'll tell you, a lot good heads-up driving there from Robert Hartley, because it could have all turned for naught when Palacio went bounding over the curb over at turn 5.
Yeah, a lot of people say this track is kind of boring, but I'll tell you what, it races very well because it's wide at times. It has a lot of these hard braking points like you're seeing down here, as we had seen going into turn 7. Obviously, the turn 1 always creates separation and opportunities. And what you can see already, there's Palacio has got a little damage on his left front, perhaps from some contact. Speaking of contact, that is the 68 going for a spin.
Yeah, was that was the 68? I thought that was Thorman going around.
But was the 68?
Yeah.
Right.
And we'll pick that up. And Larry, I think up towards the front of the field, Jim Pfeiffer in his GTP car has an issue as well. We'll try and track up with that, but let's take a look and see exactly what happened to the D2D sim racer.
Thorman on the inside of one of the Ferraris from the wrong side. I didn't catch which one it was. Couldn't tell if there was actual contact there or not. Hard to see. Perhaps it might have been Schwenkler, but I don't know if there was actually contact, or if this is just another one of those cold tires early laps in the slowest corner on the course. Unfortunately for Thorman, he's going to lose a little bit of ground. He'll get going again as we check in with Lucas Dragota from Dragon Sport there in the 219. He's right up on the tail of Andre Wedderburn. He's got a nice delivery this year. Most of the season looks really good. But yeah, Lucas, the faster ones we have seen, always in contention.
Yeah, indeed, and of course Lucas was right there in contention, I believe, for GT3 AM this season, Larry, and came down to the very last race of the season for him. Ilya Speaker taking the championship in what was the GT3 AM class. Just got word from Race Control. You were talking about rookie drivers who have to be cognizant of those the starting rules, Larry. Well, Caleb Lehman, driver of the number 819 LMP2 car, he's leading the class right now, but not for long, as he's just been assigned a drive-through penalty for jumping the start for moving out of line.
That's unfortunate, and that's why they have those rules, and the rookies always seem to get caught out the first time out as he's coming into the pits now, serving this thing early. But I tell you, he's shown really good pace so far tonight, obviously running there in the lead of this race. He may still have a chance to recover from this thing and maybe even put it on the podium. We'll see how that goes for him as he's in his pit serving that penalty.
We'll see where he joins. So, John, do we have that the replay there of what happened to Pfeiffer's GTP car? Okay. Yeah, it looks like, and I saw it in one of the shots there where Jeff Jacobs had an issue. I thought coming in, not into this section here, but I thought it was coming over to turn 12, which is, oh well, maybe it was before then.
Yeah.
As Jeff had to take evasive action, went into the wall, and then I think I saw him again with some issues over at turn 12, and I think it was actually trying to just get out of the way of some of the LMP cars.
A rough start there for Jeff after we just got done talking to him, and he was all excited about the season, and now his Corvette needs a little bit of a repair, a little massage to the front end.
Good thing the engine's in the rear and not in the front rear.
Yeah.
So it has been a very exciting first 15 minutes of this 75-minute battle from Indianapolis, where Tanner Dibble's your leader in GTP, Josh Kaczynski now your new leader.
It's about to get more exciting as
yes, it is.
GTPs and GT3s are starting to mix, and there's a gaggle of LMP2s there, all from Rockefeller Racing, whole team of them, with one of their GT3 representatives there as well. So makes for an interesting first time through the field. So
yeah, I think that was Charlie Hosea and Avon Dorsey, both from Rockefeller, currently running third and fourth in class currently.
We'll see if they work well together, keep themselves sorted out. It's not always easy to do. It's a long race, and if your teammates are on comms together, perhaps you're kind of willing to do that kind of work. As Hosea decides to check up a little bit and wait to go around that slower GT3 car. I think that was Taylor Bertram.
Let's do this, Larry. Let's jump over, coming down into turn number 1 now. We saw at the start where we had all 4 of the Orion Racing Corvettes all stacked up behind Bailey Petrowski, and right now this is the fight between Robert Hartley and Leo Dragota. They've fallen back a little bit. They're currently running 7th and 8th, directly behind the Mustang of Dave Richards. They're the number 68 machine. So they got separated out from their teammates Schwenke and Dam. Of course, a lot of that we saw in the early fight with Eric Palacio that Robert Hartley had. Hartley's given up positions now, not only to Richards, but also to Mariano Barrios, who had been, when we last checked in with him, right behind that battle that Hartley was having with Palacio.
Yeah, that's where you start to see this a lot of shuffling, a lot of fighting going on. That's the big field. As Dibble, speaking of fighting, he's got on his tail Dalton Fredericks, and they're trying to make their way through the field, and Fredericks might be timing this right for a chance to make a move into 1. Frederick's trying to use some draft here as they come around the last right-left corner here before we go onto the front straight.
It is getting tight there. Larry is the Phantom Power Racing driver there running in second. Dalton Fredericks having to check up a little bit. You know, I think we're going to see that kind of that accordion as look at as both Dibble and Fredericks are just leapfrogging GT3 cars, moving in and out and in and out.
Trying to use the draft. Now they're right behind the leaders. As that looks like Leo Dragotta. That's that battle we were watching a moment ago. Hartley, Richards, Dragotta. And now it's Hartley ahead of Richards. Dragotta also down the inside as Dibble's trying to find room. But these guys are fighting. They're not going to give up. And they're almost contact there between Dibble and the back of Dragotta. And then you got Dalton Fredericks looking for an opportunity as they go down the Holman straight. This is going to go 4 wide.
As they go now and split. I think that was by Schwenke that they just split over there going down the Holman straight. Oh my gosh. And so we do have a new leader for the moment. It is Dalton Fredericks. But, you know, Larry, it's just going to be a question of who can anticipate what this traffic is going to do. Well,
it looked like there Dibble backed off a little bit as he went through those S's just to go single file and not continue the side-by-side fight. Dibble waiting to fight another day, maybe looking for an opportunity to do some fuel saving. I don't know how you can with this much chaos and 50 cars on track. I don't know if you can do any fuel save. You're pretty much bursting between GT3 cars as they make their way through the grouping there. That might have been Barrios as they now set their sights on Palacio, and now all the way up in front of that should be Travis Schwenke.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just a half chaotic here as they work their way through the GT field for the first time.
Only half chaotic?
Yeah. You got 2 more to go. Schwenke lets them by. Fredericks, leader in GTP, now trying to get by Petrowski and Dam. They'll get one of them before the S's. The other's going to have to wait till either in or after. Go through these S's. They're wide-ish, but they're also relatively tight. It makes it tough. Frederick's able to, on the last bit of them, make his way out and put a little bit of daylight between he and Tanner Dibble. There's Dibble, though, closing that daylight quickly.
And that's unfortunate. Brian Bennett in the chat. Brian, Larry. Who are you again? Oh, that's right. Brian Bennett, number 161.
It was Brian Bennett's in the chat talking about his unfortunate sim rig. So you're just talking to him, not to me. I get
that is correct. We're having our own little private conversation of which we're allowing you to listen in on. But as you said, having issues with the sim rig, and so it's like his night has finished a little bit earlier than we expected after only 4 laps.
Chase West there in the aerokinetics there in the middle of the field as we then jump back up towards the front to Leo Dragotta, still trying to keep up Hartley. Hartley and Dragotta were able to get around David Richards. Now they got to set their sights on the next one's up in front of them. Would be Mariano Barrios. He's a couple seconds up the road though. Chaos. Even after the yellow, kind of continued the chaos as Rockefeller Racing goes into each other and takes each other out.
Oh, and that was Hosea and Dorsey that we saw earlier tonight, that they were side by side or nose to tail, as Avon Dorsey looks like got into Charlie Hosea there, the number 100 machine, and we'll see how things play out there.
I think Rocky's going to have a little talk with his team here about taking each other out. You can race, but don't hit. There you go.
Yeah, I think there was definitely some contact there.
Yeah, Jose's in the 100.
Yep.
And just gets hit by Dorsey from behind. Just a misjudgment of speed there, running the outside line. That's not, they're not exactly going to be buying each other dinner after this one's over. There's now Hosea in a bit of a rush. Comes up behind one of his GT3 teammates there. See who that one is.
And there you go, Larry. It was quick. It was painless, except for Avon Dorsey, who's just been given a drive-through penalty for that incident.
Yep, pretty obvious when that happens here. So let's flash back into our leaders in GTP, both in Porsches. Dalton Frederickstein are Dibble continuing their mono-y-mono, and every once in a while through a gaggle of GT3s, but right now they've got the tracks to themselves.
This may be the only time we get to look at their driving styles, Larry, and how they hold on. It's the one free piece of track that they've had.
Yeah, as Dibble looked like he was at least going to make a move and fill some mirrors there in between 12 and 13. But now they head back onto the long front straight. That's Robert Brist in the Corvette that they're going around. Continuing their battle. They're only about 2 seconds ahead of Bobby Childs. So the more they battle, the more likely they're going to bring a Bobby into this. And maybe a Jordan Butler who's only about 2 seconds further back from Bobby. So things really haven't spread out too far yet across the top four, and all it takes is a little bit of traffic could bring them all together again.
All right, let's take a look here as Mariano Barrios, and we saw earlier how aggressive he was in that Mustang, Larry, as he has now come up on the back of Eric Palacio. This is the battle for fourth. Here, and you know, again, we saw as Palacio, you know, really push the issue with Robert Hardley earlier. Let's see if Barrios is willing to take up the charge here. Interesting to see, because I have not seen many races yet with these Mustangs. I'm trying to see where the Mustang stands even in straight line speed compared to, say, the Ferrari. I mean, obviously that the Mustang has quite a bit more frontal area than the Mustang.
It's a large car.
Yeah,
it's a very large car. It's certainly not small in terms, but it kind of depends on that balance performance. Is how do they actually project that weight in that aero to perform on the track? We've seen this before, where even cars you think would have good top speed end up not. So it's always difficult when a new car is released to see how well it balances against the others. But so far, nothing seems to be dominant, as we can see right down the order. It's, you know, we've got Mustang, Corvette, Ferrari, Mustang, Corvette, Corvette. It just doesn't seem to be, as that was an interesting move to split the GT3s.
Yeah, and that is the 199 machine there, Larry, of Dave Menena, who went by in that. There's one small little patch of grass that you can drive on there, coming where that section of track coming out of 14 rejoins the oval, and the 199 car went to it.
He did, and now you've got a good shot of Josh Vidal trying to snake his way through some of this traffic. It looks like he does safely. Not easy, though. Petrowski, your leader, is having to dodge from behind all these LMP2s now that are coming through the field there. As that one there might have been 13 of Baron Glover.
Baron Glover.
I used to keep track of 50 cars on track.
It's tough, man.
Yeah. Luckily, a lot of these drivers run the same car number regardless of what series we're running, so I can go, oh, okay, that's number 60. That's Thornton. No, that's 13. That's Baron Glover. Always helps a little bit. Not easy, though. New liveries to learn. Like I said, I like the D2D style they're going with. The flat black with the chrome. That's right up my alley.
Let's see, under braking. Corvette does actually makes up a little bit of ground on the Mustang.
I don't see any straight line advantage for either car.
No.
Pretty fair there between the Corvette and the Mustang.
Well, I mean, we'll see here as Dam is, at least they're going in the one, is making up a lot of the advantage under braking. It'd be interesting to see when they get to the end of the Holman straight whether it's the same thing.
I'll say it looks like coming up behind them, we'll probably split them. There he goes. I saw that flash of lights there, and there goes Hosea right on through after his rough moments a little bit ago. You can see those S's on board here, how tight they are. These are not exactly flat S's. These are, you have to work through the ones here at Indy.
John, I was hoping we could maybe jump a little bit further back in the field and take a look at this battle between Taj Edwards and Elias Speaker, as they are here, making their way through the 8, 9, and 10 complex. Because I think we just had Edwards get around Speaker. Remember, Speaker was our just coming off the season 10 GT3 AM championship, and Taj Edwards is another Orion racer, and I think it's the first time that we've seen Taj here in any of our Ricmotech races.
Yeah, another Orion driver getting his feet wet here in the series, and good to see they always bring some of the best of the best. So kind of waiting to see him make his mark here in the series, just like all the other Orion drivers seem to.
Let's move over to Lucas Dragotta there in the orange Dragon Sport Porsche. He's one driver who was kept old reliable in the same chassis, and as we look at him, he's got Andre Wedderburn.
Not many Porsches left in the field. I think I see 4 of them here in GT3. A lot of the drivers have bailed on it and decided to jump over to one of the new ones, the Ferraris the Ford or the Chevy or even the Ferrari. But we do still have a couple of Mercedes and a couple of Porsches. You can see them right there in the middle of this pack there with Wedderburn, Dragotta, and Steiner in a BMW.
And it looks like Lucas got a little damage there on the front end of the Porsche.
Yeah, he's been in the back of somebody at some point.
He's been in the wars.
As you can tell, there's been some bump tracking going on. We start seeing a little bit of wrinkle in front of those cars. It's one of our Rockefeller entries wants to get by, and that looks like Avon Dorsey after serving a penalty. I think that's the first one.
Larry, let's see if we can figure out here. It looks like we know David Payton is in the pits after that incident we saw earlier. We've got Stacy Bertrand, who has been in the pits since the beginning of time. Basically, I think since the very opening rounds. And I think let's take a look here. Because we
Butler definitely has some damage.
Yeah, because we had Butler come into the pit lane.
Yeah, perhaps to get some minor fixes and go back out, but certainly not all the fixes. As you can see, there's wrinkle all the way across the front of that Acura. Can't be efficient on these long straightaways. Yeah. Oh, and that's going to make it less efficient.
Oh, that's,
it goes around.
Probably less so.
And
all right,
doesn't
that's coming
get to
out
the
of
wall
turn
again,
10.
but I suspect there's some handling issues there on board with that Acura.
So we'll say, and look, the little wiggle as he gets the car back on course. He was in the pits for a little bit over a minute and 10 on the pit lane for a minute 10. He was in his pit stall for about 22 seconds. And we're starting to see drivers have some more issues. Tanner Dibble, who was our early leader, looks like he just had an issue as well. Let's take a look and see what happened as he goes into turn 7, deep in GT traffic, trying to I was gonna say trying to come across some of the Orion racers, and he actually did that.
That was Taj Edwards there in one of the Orion Corvettes that got tangled with. We'll see if the stewards take a look at that. And often, this is interesting because the burden of passing goes on the faster passing lapping car, but there needs to be some understanding of your own position when you're the slower car. And I do wonder perhaps if they'll look at Taj and say maybe you should have yielded at that stage. But we'll let them take a look at that. As we flash now to the front is Bobby Childs. Now is in a fight with Dibble. As Dibble's on that recovery.
And at this point, Dalton Fredericks, about 6 seconds up the road. He currently is your GTP leader. As Childs and Dibble battled out for second. And wow, look at the ground that Dibble's made up just since that spin. Of course, he was your pole sitter tonight.
He looks anxious to get past Bobby, and Bobby's driving a relatively wide car here, but Bobby's not going to make too much out of it. They come together.
As you were saying, Larry.
I thought Bobby was just going to hold his line out there, and I'm wondering if perhaps Dibble thought perhaps Bobby was just going to back out. Bobby did not. So
I don't know.
again,
he went deep into the corner and came right across him.
I was going to say we need an overhead view, and look at that. John gets us one. Watch Bobby will be on the outside, Dibble on the inside. Bobby's just going to hold his line. Maybe a little bit snug for Bobby, but we'll see what the stewards think.
Yeah, I think you know, again, not making any judgment. I think Bobby probably could have opened up the corner a little bit more, and they probably would have both safely made it through. But yeah, we'll see what the stewards have to say.
As Bobby now is alongside a GT3 entry. Making all kinds of fun for David Richards there. Bobby now is 12 seconds down from Dalton Fredericks. Now Ryan Reisman takes over the third spot as Dibble drops all the way down to 5th.
Yeah, I think as Dibble's been trying to recover from that last incident, there may be something wrong with the car. Let's take a look as he comes down into turn 1.
Well, he comes into 1 and just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Just had trouble slowing it down.
Yep.
What if he just missed the braking point, or if there really is some damage on that car?
I don't know, Larry, because and John, I don't know if we can go back and take another quick look at it, maybe actually from overhead, because it looked as though the rear end of the car stepped out a little bit on him when he got into the brake pedal.
Here he is in a braking. A little off his normal line, but nothing extreme. I just wonder if he never got the speed off. So we'll keep an eye on. And look at it. Good job to avoid the wall.
Yes.
And then serve his course cut penalty. But we'll get back to him in a minute as Bobby Childs again continues to hold on to that second spot now. As Dibble's about 5 seconds back from Johnson. Adam Johnson currently 4th. And then you got Ryan Reisman right there with Johnson. So we got some battles going on. Dibble's going to come up on them shortly. Bobby's going to enjoy this sitting in second spot right now as we are past the 30-minute mark, and I would say we're probably somewhat near a pit window.
Yeah, I was going to say we're probably getting pretty darn close, Larry, because I think the pit windows start to open up for these cars somewhere right around, probably right around 17 laps for the GT3 cars, and I think we're already past that. 20 laps for GTP, we're certainly past that, and or probably 20 laps for the LMP2s and then 22 laps for the GTPs. Well, let's do this. We are right up at the top of the hour. Why don't we take a quick break? Thanks to some of our partners and sponsors, and when we come back, we'll take you all the way to the green flag and hopefully have a lot of those pit stops to show you here on the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge presented by the SCCA Foundation and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
C3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
Round number 1 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by SCCA Foundation and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg. He's Larry Lefty McLeod. And of course, we've got Jonathan Grabowski giving us all the great views tonight. And I think John is going to check in with us now, or check in with our GT3 race for the lead, Larry. And you know what? Doesn't look much different than what we saw before. But oh my gosh, Mike Dam has just been right there since the drop of the green flag.
He has been, where you watched a couple of the other Orion cars fade a little bit and have their issues. Mike Dam hasn't gone anywhere, and making his debut in a GT3 out of the prototypes. We've seen him in LMP3s, we've seen him in GTPs. Now we finally see him in something with, I'll say, with real fenders, and with the engine in front of him. And he seems to have picked it up pretty well. Bailey Petrowski, fast as you'd expect. Mike Dam hasn't faded at all. He's within that half a second. Any closer, you're probably losing some of the aero that these cars do have and lording his front tires. So this is going to come down to it, right down to the end. This could be a pit stop thing that maybe comes along here. Mike Dam's able to save any fuel, and on a track like this, if you're close enough to draft, you can save some fuel. So this could make for an interesting finish. And then not too far back is Travis Schwenke, another one of the Orion teammates there.
I was going to ask, speaking of saving fuel, I mean, Travis Schwenke looks like he might be in the catbird seat just a couple car lengths back from there.
Speaking of Orion.
Yeah, there is Leo Dragotta, who was at the start of this race up in the top 5. He now falls to 15th in the field. And Larry, as we see him run off here, let's see exactly what happens as he's coming through. That is over turn 13, right before the pit entry. Robert Hartley, also from Orion, not all that much further ahead on track right now. So Hartley had dropped back quite a bit as well, all the way down at the time Leo spun down to 15th. Now he's up to 14th.
Yeah, Leo, you're a defending champ in this class in the World Challenge last season, comes in here and he's having some troubles here tonight. But Bobby Childs from second is down pit lane for his stop right just before the halfway mark. So maybe going to plan for Bobby, get it in, get it done, get back out and see what happens. Dibble now, after some of the issues we've seen from him, he's going to go ahead and pull it in for the pits. This will be interesting. Maybe looking for some clear track. Or perhaps if he did have an issue with his brakes or some other damage, he needs to take an extra 30 seconds and then it repairs.
Yeah, indeed. And we now have Jake Zito bringing his machine, his Acura. Oh, I thought we had Zito coming in. Take that back. It's Aaron Beaver in his LMP2 machine, the number 97 Rockefeller car coming down the pit lane.
Let's see how that goes. Got some races in that field. Tough to keep track of all of them.
All right, so Childs is back on his way, and we're starting to see some of our GT3 racers come into the pit lane right now, like Ilya Speaker, who was our Season 10 GT3 AM champion. Jordan Butler is, we had Jordan Butler in as well. And let's see, we're starting to see the GTP racers all come in, Larry. Adam Johnson from the Wrong Stuff bringing his Cadillac onto the pit lane now as well.
Yep, so about that halfway mark. So if you had planned on just running halfway, filling up, and coming in for the rest, then this is your chance to do it. Say another one of the Rockefeller Racing entries out there in LMP2.
Yeah,
right
that's
now in a fight with Caleb Lehman. That's fourth position.
Yeah, indeed. That is the battle for fourth right now in LMP2. Of course, Hosea carrying some of those battle scars from his earlier fight with his teammate.
Baron Glover up there just in front of him. All three of these fighting for third right now. Glover, Lehman, Hosea. About a second covering the three of them as they make their way through the traffic. That looks like David Richards in the car 6'9" and that Mustang that they're all trying to use draft and then go around. They do manage to, as Richards hopefully gets his own clear track for his own braking zone. These LMP2s get out of his way. Yeah, good little fight here for third, developing an LMP2. So, a couple of penalties being issued. One handed to Andre Wedderburn for an incident that he was involved in earlier.
With Lucas Dragotta, apparently.
Yes. So Wedderburn's going to be given a drive-through for Love the look of a shared pit stall and seeing exactly how big a Mustang is compared to a GTP car.
And every time you say David Richards behind the wheel of that Mustang, Larry, all I can think of is pro drive owner and former BAR Honda principal Sir David Richards.
And maybe it's him.
Oh, well, there you go.
There's
That'll
the
do
review.
it.
That's the replay of Wedderburn. They have caused the incident there, and you can see Lucas Dragotta taking the brunt of that. So that caused his drive-through. Is
And should
finish his pit stop.
Yeah, and should note the one feature there, Larry. We talked about that huge elevation change over at turn one, but the curbing at turn one is elevated as well, and I think more so than any other curbing around the track here. And yeah, as we saw there, whatever you hit it, and you're going to go airborne, and you're going to lose all control. And unfortunately, Dragotta there, the beneficiary of that, as we go on board with Ryan Reisman now. We see Ryan down there in the lower left-hand corner, and see how he's working the steering wheel here. Currently your leader overall at the moment.
He is, as we had seen the pit stops already underway. Fredericks took his stop, so we'll see as that makes the shuffle around here as Josh Chinsky pits from the lead in LMP2.
And Larry, it just dawned on me that the pit lane at Indy is almost as long as the pit lane at Road America. It does go on for quite a distance there as Chinsky finally into his pit stall after about 45 seconds of transit time trying to get there.
So that moves Menena to the lead here in LMP2, at least temporarily. He's trying to make his way through some traffic. That traffic actually is in the hands of the Josh Vidal, another one of the LMP2 cars.
And so Vidal now goes a lap down to Meneno.
We'll see how all these pit stops shake out. It does look like most of our LMP2s have stopped, but not all of them. Obviously, Dave here hasn't. A few others have. This pit exit getting a little bit crowded here. Josh Chinsky, Aaron Beaver nearly side by side. Avon Dorsey just in front of him. A bit of chaos there.
Oh my. Oh, so Larry, we need to check if it's just a sign of another youngster texting and driving, or if he's checked out of the session, because it looks like Leo Dragotta is now in the chat talking about the Corvette, and yeah, it looks as though Leo is.
Do not see him.
Yeah, he's out of the session.
He's cheering on his former teammate from across the basements, and unfortunately, right now, there's a lot of damage happening to both of those drivers tonight. It's been a rough night there in the Dragotta household. Yeah, Lucas apparently has suffered a death at the hands of other cars, at least according to Leo.
Yeah. And Larry, look at this. Travis Schwenke's made up we talked about he might be in the catbird seat. He's now right onto the back of his teammate Mike Dam. And I think this has more to do with the LMP traffic and GTP traffic more than anything. I thought it lost touch with track with Petrowski, but he's still right there. All right, another penalty being handed out, Larry. The 100 machine. Where have we heard this number before?
Isaiah.
That's as getting a drive-through penalty for incident responsibility, some more contact. This last time is he was on the receiving end. Looks like he's on the giving end this time.
It is a lot of chaos tonight. It's a lot of things to sort out. The drivers that can stay clean and stay smooth are going to give themselves a chance. Isaiah, though, he may have a penalty coming, but for the moment, he is leading his class, so he's going to get bonus points. We haven't talked about that for the newcomers to our series, that there are bonus points to be given throughout the season. One of them is being on pole for your class. Another is leading a lap for your class, as well as participating in practice sessions, as well as being clean and being under a certain amount of incidents per race. There's a maximum number of bonus points you can earn each season, but they all are valuable if you can earn them. Leading a lap does mean a lot to a lot of drivers, so Charlie's going to get that probably before he comes in for his drive-through and for his pit stop.
All right, another driver being given a drive-through penalty, and that is the number 13 machine of Baron Glover, who is currently running second in LMP2 for an incident with Josh Vidal.
So both the top two runners in LMP2 are serving penalties. So it looks like he's doing his right now, and now Glover.
And so we'll see. That may move Avon Dorsey, who earlier served a drive-through penalty, up into the LMP2 lead.
It's going to be a matter of who can avoid the penalties tonight. I think might have the best chance to win LMP2. There's Dorsey. There's a look at him right now.
Yeah, so he's coming, and well, he's coming into the pit lane to take his pit stop. So I guess that's not going to be the case.
Well, we'll keep our eye on that. Now it should move Josh Chinsky then back up in front of him, potentially in the catbird seat to take the lead back.
Yeah, we'll see here as Chinsky now leapfrogs both Glover and Hosea. And does retake the lead in LMP2.
All right, we'll keep our eye on him now with about 25 minutes left in the race. As well as we've got this race and the leaders and GT3s, and none of these guys have even looked at making a pit stop yet. Petrowski, Dam, and Schwenke, 1, 2, 3, all nose to tail. And as you said, Schwenke may be the one who saved the most fuel, or perhaps Mike Dam has, just stuck underneath the deck lid of that Mustang for pretty much the entire 50 minutes so far. Mike Dam might be able to have the shortest pit stop of these three.
So, Larry, and I think obviously the opening caution really messed up with my calculations for pit stops here, and I'm sure is obviously straight, lengthened thing. Yeah, of course, has lengthened. No abacus tonight. Has lengthened things for our racers here, because we originally, if we had not gone to full course caution, we thought that the GT3 window would run probably up until lap 30. We're now completing lap number 32, starting lap number 33 for our front-running GT3 racers. So, given what we had about 4 or 5 laps under caution, I think would be surprised if they could make that work probably for another 5 or 6 laps.
Well, as they are looking at maybe making that pit stop here pretty soon, a quick run down the order. Bailey Petrowski, Mike Dam, Travis Schwenke, as we've been talking about. There you can see them on screen. Behind them, Eric Palacio in the Ferrari. Then you've got Chris Thorman in one of the Fords, Mariano Barrios in another Ford, Lucas Trigota in a Porsche, Alex Brown in a Ford, Chase West in a Corvette, Walker Caton in the Ford, currently 10th in GT3, but I don't believe Jagoda has made a pit stop yet. We know the front 3 have not, so there's some changes that could happen here pretty soon.
And Larry, Jeff Brooks in the number 85 Ford Mustang, up 14 spots to number 6. I think qualified in 20th position this evening, and a great run for him so far.
It looks like my tiny screen was off by a lot, because now I can see that we've actually got in Jeff Brooks there in 6, Taj Edwards.
And look at this, Larry, coming into the pit lane all in a row. So if Schwenke was saving fuel, it didn't play out that way. Petrowski, Dam, and Schwenke, our top 3 racers in GT3, all take to the pit lane for the first time. Well, we'll see Well, I guess we'll know depending on who gets out of their box first.
If tomorrow morning you're ready to go buy either a Corvette or Mustang, but you really want to know which one's better on gas, wait about 30 seconds, and whichever one pops out first, that's the dealership you should go to tomorrow. Your mileage may vary.
And David Richards comes in as well. This is going to put Eric Palacio and his Ferrari up into the lead.
Oh, look at
this. There's your answer, Larry, as both of the Orion Corvettes leapfrog our former leader, Bailey Petrowski. And so Petrowski, if he's going to take this win, he's going to have to make it happen on track.
This will be interesting with about 20 minutes to go now. It's a complete shuffling at the front. As Hartley is in, all the rest of the GT3s are making their way, and there's Taj Edwards, the other one of the Orion racers in this field, leading a whole pack, a gaggle of them, if you will.
And Ken Copeland in the chat, somewhat surprised that Bailey Petrowski took 4 tires during that pit stop, and we were under the impression, and again, this may have changed things up considerably because of the early caution as our leader Palacio and his Ferrari comes down the pit lane. But the thought originally was, Larry, if the drivers went all the way as far as they could go on their first stint, that those GT3 cars would have enough time to change all 4 tires during the fuel fill and not lose any additional time. So that may be something that we saw there, where Petrowski took the tires and maybe the Orion folks didn't.
If he was able to do that, that could be a game changer for the end of this race, as we've got 25 more minutes. There's about 26 more minutes in this race, or 20 minutes. I can't do math. Now I'm doing Greg math. Got about 20 minutes left in this race.
Old man.
And Petrowski, if he's got the fresher tires, could have the advantage. But I think he's fading a little bit right now. There's a couple seconds that he's falling back from Travis Schwenke. He's got some work to do here to get those tires up to temp. But if he can, he'll be in a good position. What he has to hope for now, though, is there's some traffic that both Mike Dam and Travis Schwenke come up upon that'll give maybe the Mustang and Petrowski a chance to catch back up. Right now, though, tires aren't quite warm yet. He's just fading back a couple seconds from Travis Schwenke in second.
Yeah, so I guess the question is going to be, in 20 minutes, what are the Corvette's tires going to be like in comparison to the Mustang? Palacio rejoins in fourth. And it's been a great run for Eric Palacio as well. Again, we saw early on is he was very aggressive with Robert Hartley, but moved up through the field. Started 8th tonight, is now up into 4th position. He's not very far behind Bailey Petrowski. As we take a look here, there is the number 39 SRT Esport machine. He's only 2 seconds back from Petrowski.
Yeah, those gaps you can see on the ticker there, that right there is interval to the car in front of him, which means Palacio in 4th is only about 6 seconds behind Mike Dam in the lead. So you've got a couple of Corvettes, a Ford, and a Ferrari in the top 4, and they're all very close. We're almost an hour into this thing, and we're talking 6 seconds separating the top 4. That is some close racing. All it takes is a little bit of traffic. We've got a lot of that tonight with the LMP2s, the GTPs funneling their way through. If Dam and Schwenke have to lift for any reason, Petrowski and Palacio will be right there on their heels.
All right, and there is our current leader in GTP, Larry, for Phantom Power Racing. It's Jake Zito in his I believe it's the Acura, isn't it?
Well, yeah, he's about to pit.
There we go. And he's one of our last GTP racers, I think, to come down the pit lane. So that's going to move Dalton Fredericks back up into the lead.
Yeah, that's about what we expected there. We'll see how then that plays out with Adam Johnson in 3rd, but I think a little bit behind on track. Ryan Reisman currently will move up to 3rd once Zito gets through his pit stop. But again, I think there's a bit of a buffer now for Dalton Fredericks. He might have an opportunity here to pick and choose his lines. As we're on board, look at this. All he's got is a train in front of him of GT3 cars. Starting with Jeff Brooks. Should be Taj Edwards. I think. David Richard.
I think that's Hartley.
No, that's the 415. That's Walker Caton.
No, but it's Robert Hartley directly ahead of Taj Edwards.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just one big gaggle of cars right there. Fredericks. Pretty commanding lead at this point, so he can play caution right now. He's not really being pressured, which is the opposite of what we're seeing in GT3 with Dam and Schwenke, Petrowski, and Palacio so close. Dam really doesn't have much margin. He's got a little bit. He's got a little bit of breathing room, but does have to be cautious. And you can see that gap to his teammate now, just over 2 seconds and growing. A perfect stat. There you can see Schwenke losing time on 3 out of the last 4 laps. Chunks of it too, over a second on lap 34. That's a lot of time to lose there here for Travis Schwenke. Schwenke may be falling into the clutches of Billy Petrowski.
Yeah. I mean, what we might be seeing is, possibly those left-hand tires starting early on to give way there on the Schwenke machine.
Yeah, because if you look at Petrowski's pace to Schwenke, Petrowski just took out about 6/10 Schwenke's lead in the last time by. As we check in here with Dave Manetta, he's running in that LMP2, and he's got a bit of a train with Caleb Lehman right behind him. Not a lot of buffer there either. Currently running in the 2nd spot, but it is certainly a contested spot there. Find some traffic on the front straight.
All right, as we have 15 minutes remaining here tonight, it is Dalton Fredericks, your leader in GTP, with Adam Johnson 2nd, Ryan Reisman 3rd in LMP2. It is the number 18 machine of Josh Chinsky with Dave Meneno and Caleb Lehman running 2nd and 3rd. That's the battle we were just watching. And then in GT3, Mike Dam, Travis Schwenke, Bailey Petrowski. Your top 3 is Petrowski. John, is it possible to throw up the those gaps between Petrowski and Travis Schwenke? And there you go. Not much on the prior lap, but
not too much. Only a 10th or so, but
yeah,
you can see Petrowski still working it, picking up some chunks here. I think you go back to lap 34, that was their pit lap. So we saw a lot of that gap grow, but now it's been Petrowski with the warm tires starting to reel in Travis Schwenke.
Let's see if it resets when they cross the stripe here this time.
And I think Petrowski may even be slightly reeling in Mike Dam, as they're now about 3.8 seconds. So it's slow, but he's getting there.
Yep, and there you go, almost another half second.
Yeah. Petrowski is definitely on the charge. Yankees can do all they can to keep those LMP2s and the GTPs between them as much as possible. We've seen these two come together tonight, Hosea and Dorsey. This time, Dorsey goes by more gently, but still they're fighting.
Not that gently, Larry. Maybe they're fighting to see who gets the 2nd drive-through penalty of the night.
I think Charlie's saying, I got some revenge to enact here. No, he's going to play nice. Say it was the victim earlier. Our quote-unquote teammates. They run the same livery. They're going to come together, and this time it is
again.
Hosea on the back of Dorsey. Hosea goes around, and they are blocking the track. He's got to really watch out for cars coming out of turn 14.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for him to get that thing spun around.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Twice. The two teammates come together. Similar results. Oh, if you're Charlie,
welcome to the late Apex show, Larry.
You got to be kicking yourself if you're Charlie. Let's watch this replay. If that's Charlie in the 100, that's Dorsey in the 44, and this time it's Charlie getting to the back of Dorsey, and Dorsey gets away faster.
Oh my.
Oh.
Oh.
Ken Copeland may have called it right retaliation. It just didn't work. All right, let's check in with a couple of teammates here. Rob Hartley and Taj Edwards together for the Orion Corvettes as they're making their way through the field. They got Walker Caton just ahead of them.
Yeah, so Hartley's swapped positions with Taj Edwards now, so move Hartley up to 10th. And still not a wonderful night, I'm sure, in Robert Hartley's books as he started off on the inside of row number 2 tonight and is finding himself down in 10th in GT3.
somebody we haven't checked into in a while has been Bobby Childs, who's had an interesting night. He's back in the pits. Of course, remember for a moment there, he was up in the top 2 and looking nice and smooth. Let's check in on maybe what happened to Bobby.
And there you go, Larry. Turnabout is fair play as the 100 car of Charlie Hosea gets the drive-through penalty. Oh,
Bobby avoids hitting the overall race leader, Dalton Fredericks, and instead hits a GT3 car.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's fine.
And Bobby's going to do the roll of shame back to the pits.
Oh, my.
The preemptive.
Now, let's take a look at it from another angle, Larry.
Yeah, he hit the brakes, and I don't think he expected Dalton Fredericks to wait behind. He couldn't see the GT3 car that he's about to hit.
And that was... That was the 95 car of Russ Ruddick, who happens.
Oh, Russ Ruddick.
It just ends up being a battering ram seemingly every week.
In the Corvette, yeah, he'd been in that BMW for several seasons, and just trying out the Corvette, and then this Corvette gets run into by a very large and fast Acura. All right, so let's keep an eye on Taj Edwards. See what he can do here. As in front of him, Hartley making the move on Caton. Taj now is going to try and do the same, but they've got an LMP2 behind him. That's Aaron Beaver. It's like every time we turn, there's another one of these LMP2s with the Rockefeller paint on them.
And Dave Meneno now running third in LMP2, Larry, and running, I believe, 7th overall, or it's probably 6th overall. Getting a drive-through penalty, did not pick up where that incident was or who it was with, but he's making another run down the pit lane. I think that's his second this evening.
It was an incident involving himself and Jeff Jacobs. Jeff is still out there.
2 orange cars.
Yes. Lane there given to Menino. Again with Mike Dam, his lead is dwindling. Remember at one point, a couple laps ago, he was up almost 3 seconds on his teammate. That's now down to 1. Petrowski finds himself just about 1.5 behind Schwenke, but now less than 3 from the lead, so things are tightening up. Palacio also now within 4 seconds of the lead. Getting tight here in the last closing laps. 10 more minutes in this thing. Can Mike Dam hang on to it?
And Kent Copeland is just... Oh, well, we'll get to that in a second. Up. And Bobby Childs, who I think is still on the pit lane, has just been given a drive-through penalty for incident responsibility with that
in the least surprising news of the last 10 minutes, Bobby Childs was given a penalty for what we witnessed a couple laps ago. But let's keep an eye on these guys. As Schwenke now within 0.6 of his teammate Mike Dam, as they're lapping one of the Ferraris there in front of them.
And I think that's Robert Schwenker in the 235 machine. Put him another lap down.
I want to say there's a
there
couple
are only
of
a limited number of Ferraris. Or it might have been Stephen May in the 255.
Might have been the 250.
Yeah.
Look at that livery. I don't think that's a wrong stuff livery on that.
No, no. Just in the light blue, that would be.
Yeah. But keep an eye on Schwenke here. He's going to definitely make up ground. He's done very well in the last couple laps to pull up to Mike Dam. About 8 minutes left. And you can see Petrowski, Palacio, not far back either. This is definitely tightening up. And I'm starting to wonder if these Corvettes may have tried to calculate their fuel right down to the very last lap and maybe got it wrong. We've seen that before where they'll run out on the cooldown lap. Depends on when that white flag comes out.
Yeah, but Larry, if we take a look here, as both Dam and Schwenke go into turn 12, looks like the Mustang has dropped back a bit, maybe with the lapping prototype traffic there. As the last time I checked in, the gap from Schwenke back to Petrowski was right about 2.1 seconds, now sitting at about 2.6.
Yeah, that's what I said. I think part of that is just Schwenke's turned the pace up a little bit. We expected Petrowski to with the theory he had put on the fresh tires. But tell you what, Travis Schwenke seems to be the one who's the fastest on track right now in the field of GT3s. As we go on board with Bailey Petrowski, muscling this big girl of a Mustang around this place. Seeing if there's anything left in that car here for the last 7 minutes to try to make a run for the lead in the D2D Mustang. Remember, he was our pole sitter tonight, ahead of all of the field of Orion cars. But the Orion strategy that Dan and Schwenke employed might be ultimately what wins this thing if it pays off for them. They've gotten to the front 2.5 seconds ahead of Petrowski. Schwenke's smart enough to know not to push Mike Dan yet, even if he thinks he's got an opportunity, because if they get slowed down, then all the
that'll bring Petrowski right back in. Yeah.
As we check in with Taj Edwards, the other Orion driver, who's in a fight with Walker Caton, and then one of our Rockefeller Racing. It looks like Avon Dorsey in the LMP2 going through. Battle for 10th. We go over to our overall race leader, Dalton Fredericks. Should be being somewhat cautious here with a significant advantage on.
It's almost a 1 minute advantage on the rest of the GTP field. Yeah.
He's lapped all but about 3 cars. And that is Keith Stein that he just went around, one of our Rockefeller Racing Corvettes. Haven't seen him tonight.
And here is Josh Chinsky. He's your LMP2 leader. And Chinsky's got a nice little advantage now, Larry. We'd seen him for a while dealing with Caleb Lehman, but Lehman is somewhere almost 20 seconds ahead.
Yeah, this LMP2 field has kind of gotten spread out a little bit tonight. I think perhaps some of the traffic that kind of went on, being the middle child, so to speak, where you get the traffic of the GTPs occasionally coming by. Not too many times, since they're only about a lap or so down, but then you also have the other traffic to fight through, all the GT3s, and perhaps they don't get through as cleanly sometimes. But Chinsky really doing, as the rookie in this series, doing what he's supposed to do, stay clean, stay fast. He's got a little bit of damage on the front of that car.
Yeah, but should note also, Larry, that he is currently 3rd overall on track, and as you mentioned, just a lap down, actually even less than a lap down from Fredericks and Reisman, who are the only racers still on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's done a really good job to maintain his pace, perhaps taking a little bit of damage here and there, but trying to keep things clean and take advantage of the things that have happened to the rest of the GTP field in front of him, as well as a lot of those penalties we've seen in the LMP2 field. That seems to be where a lot of the drive-throughs are coming through. A lot of the contact seems to be in the rest of the LMP2s. For Chinsky, he's been able to stay clear of that as we check in with Mike Dam and Travis Schwenke. Schwenke continuing to track.
Yeah, and I think the gap now, Larry, down to just about 4/10 of a second.
Yeah. Depending on where Dalton Fredericks is, there may only be 3 laps or so left in this thing. Maybe a 4th.
4th, yeah.
Yeah, Dalton did just start a new lap a little bit ago, so we'll keep an eye on him. He'll dictate if he's still the lead. Where we do see a white flag, and there's some contact right there.
Oh my.
That is Robert Schwenkler. Schwenkler in the Ferrari from the wrong stuff, and there's half a Ferrari scattered on the front straight. I'm sure we'll queue up a replay of this. We'll go on board with Schwenkler. It's self-induced?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And just overcorrected and...
Yeah, what if his tires are just starting to fail at this stage of the race? And
yeah, and, Larry, having, as we've had cars on track on this course and walked this course before, one of the big challenges, actually, he lost it somewhat early there before he ever made it over the apron and onto the track. But, the oval is, and the front straight there is banked slightly. and does have positive camber. So if anything, it might have caught him a little bit, but we saw the rear end just start to walk out on him a little bit before he ever made it out onto the main track.
All right, we come up on an hour and 13 minutes. Looking at Dalton Fredericks, who's probably going to tell us we're going to go by the starter stand 2 more times. So these guys will probably go by 2 more times, maybe even a third. There is Fredericks.
Yes, he comes out of the 8, 9, 10 complex.
Yeah, I'm going to suspect he's got 2 more laps when he finishes this one. Maybe 1. It's actually going to be very close. They're running at about 117 was his last time by.
I was going to say about 2 seconds off of his fast lap.
It's going to be 2 laps, but it is awfully close. I think it's going to be a second lap. This should be.
Yep. Yeah. We should have 1 more to go.
Okay. So we're now getting 2 times around. That should put our GT3 battle also getting 2 laps. And there you go. There's Mike Dam. Petrowski has not made up any ground on them. Really significant ground.
Yeah, he's made a couple of tenths now, Larry, as they come under braking about 1.6, 1.7 back. So he's made up about 4 tenths. Yeah, there we go, about 4 tenths. See, I can do math every once in a while.
He's going to do it about 3 more times if he wants to catch up with us. He's about 1.7 back. 3 more.
That's
going to
be hard with only 2 laps to go.
Yep. That's where the eyes are on. That guy right there, Travis Schwenke. He had faded back a little bit early in this race from where Petrowski and Dan were running, and then he closed back up on them just in time for the pit stops. And now with what we believe 2 more times around for them, assuming their race leader Dalton Fredericks doesn't lap them.
And Schwenke, I think, if anything, some of the ground that he makes up on Dam is actually in that last sector right there, Larry, coming into turn 12, and you've got that decreasing radius left-hander turn 13 right afterwards, and it really looks like Schwenke gets a much better run through there and carries a little more speed onto the front straight, as now we have the white flag in the air. Dalton Fredericks working his last lap here at Indianapolis.
And I don't think Fredericks is close enough to damage Schwenke to lap them. That's why it's going to be close, actually.
It's going to be, as they're coming onto the Holman Straight now, Larry, I don't know.
I want to say they were about 15 seconds into a lap.
There's Fredericks now just coming onto the Holman Straight. I think they might be okay.
It's going to be close. If you're Mike Dam, you would love to have that GTP come by you and eliminate 1 more time around.
If you could have let out of the throttle and not have Schwenke pass you while you did it.
Petrowski, though, you were talking about him taking 4 tenths out of it.
He just
took
faded.
3 tenths out right there.
Yeah.
Fredericks isn't going to make it. So this is going to be 1 more time around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the clockwise version.
There he is.
Counterclockwise. 1 more time for these guys.
And there he is. There's Dalton Fredericks onto the front straight. He's going to take the win in the opening round of round number 11, or probably season number 11 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. Now let's jump back over to that GT3 fight.
And Dalton better watch himself, otherwise he runs the risk of passing these guys on his cooldown lap. That wouldn't help them at all. But some daylight there. Petrowski behind Schwenke is an LMP2 as it slipped in there. I want to say that was that even, is it Chinsky the leader?
Yeah, matter of fact, I think,
it is.
Yes, it is. So he's working his last lap as well.
And then he's got Avon Dorsey, who's had an interesting evening. Yeah, he's right in this right now as well. He's a lap down from Chinsky, but he's right on track near him and playing a part in the GT3 fight, because right now Dorsey's got himself right in between the 2 Orion drivers and just steps through there as they come up towards turn 12. There's a slow car down in the apex there at 12 as well.
Well, time is running out for Travis Schwenke as they have just 1 corner remaining, and this would be it. As they come onto the front straight, first off, Josh Chinsky, he's going to take the win in LMP2, and then taking the win Or are we now working the last lap finally, Larry?
No, this should be it.
Yeah, checkered flag is out. I'm just looking at our ticker and I don't see the checkered flag for our leader, so I'm a little confused. But Chinsky takes the win in LMP2. Mike Dam, your winner in round number 1 of GT3 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So let's run down the finishing order here. Dalton Fredericks takes the win in GTP. Jake Zito, Ryan Reisman second. Jake Zito finishing in third. In LMP2, Josh Chinsky, who finished third overall. Great run for the LMP2 driver. Caleb Lehman second. Josh Vidal finishing in third. And in GT3, Mike Dam, Travis Schwenke, Bailey Petrowski, and it looked like Bailey had fallen off on that last lap. Larry finished 3 seconds in arrears. All right, well, as our racers take their cool down lap, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have some interviews with our podium finishers here at Indianapolis, where you've just seen round number 1 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge presented by SCCA Foundation and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Hundreds of name brand parts. Expert support. Ricmotech has you covered. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
And welcome back, everybody, to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where you've just seen round number 1 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge presented by the SCCA Foundation and Buttkicker. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And we're having a couple of issues here getting our feed back to Indianapolis. So we'll leave you with, we're going to give you our upcoming schedule. But in the meantime, Larry, let's talk to some of our podium finishers, of which one I think has just disappeared. But let's bring in first, and he's a rookie here in the World Challenge, our winner in round 1 tonight in LMP2, representing SRT Esport. It's Josh Chinsky.
All right, Josh Chinsky joining us, winning an LMP2 tonight. Josh, welcome to the Ricmotech Monday Nights, and for your first race, you get yourself a win. How you feeling?
Hey, thank you, Larry. Happy to be here. I'm feeling awesome, man. Got a win at my home track. Proud Hoosier. Yeah, it's just, I mean, whether in the sim or in real life, it's something special to bring home a win at the Speedway.
Yeah, for sure. It's got to feel good jumping right into this thing. But boy, the traffic tonight looked just crazy. It's like I-69 at rush hour down around Indy. This is just nuts. How do you manage that kind of traffic and be able to come away with a win like this?
I just knowing the spacing and knowing the gaps, there were a lot of times that I felt like I could have tried to push for something, but it just wasn't worth it. I was just trying to run my own race, run it safe, run it clean. If somebody ended up passing me in traffic, so be it. But with a field of over 30 GT3s, I just wanted to make sure I finished the race. And what came from the traffic management would be.
Yeah, something about first finish first certainly plays out yet once again. So congrats on getting the maiden voyage win here tonight. But I'm sure you got a little bit of a team working with you that helped you get that win.
Absolutely. I'm with SRT Esports. We had Caleb come in P2. Great job by him. He had an unfortunate drive-through for the start, which really interested to watch that back. It was a little bit confusing for us in the car. And then Dave Menino also. We were running 1, 2, 3, and then he unfortunately got a drive-through as well. So not a great race for the team overall in regards to. Would have liked to have 1, 2, 3, but we'll take 2 on the podium. So shout out to them for all their prep work that they helped us with this week, and looking forward to the next 6 races.
Awesome job. Well, congrats on getting this win and the opening night, and you get to try and back it up in 2 weeks. So
hey, thank you, Larry.
All right, there you go, everybody. That was Josh Chinsky, your winner tonight in LMP2 from SRT Esport. All right, let's do this, Larry, because something tells me it must be like a Canadian holiday or something like that. We don't have Mike Dam in the green room. Let's bring in Ryan Reisman, who finished second tonight
The SCCA
in
Foundation
GTP,
is a
driving the number
501c3 organization
414,
serving as the charitable.
the 414 DNA Motorsports entry. And did we just lose him? Oh, no, there he is.
There
There
he
we
is.
go.
All right, so
They're
Ryan
jumping room to
Reisman
room.
joining us here post-race at Ryan. Chaotic night, but you end up putting this thing on the podium. Tell me a bit about how you survived the last 75 minutes.
Oh man, I'm not sure how I survived that. That was carnage. Are you sure this wasn't a demolition derby?
It seemed to be that way for a bit. I don't think I've ever seen so many drive-through penalties issued in one night, but with 54 cars on track, 2/3 of those being GT3s, that's a lot of traffic to snake through if you're in one of those really fast GTPs. How do you keep your heads up? How do you find those gaps, and how do you know and trust that those GT3s aren't going to occupy where you want to go?
Patience, and patience, and trust no one. I mean, I ended this with 3 incident points, which I'm proud of, considering the rest of the
Wow.
The rest of the field looked like,
Yeah, that's just says a lot about keeping your nose clean, where you can end up, and putting this thing on the podium, second overall in this field. That is tough. It's a pretty decent group of some GTP drivers out there that you're fighting with, and to end up ahead of them, that just says a lot about your ability to keep it clean and keep your speed up for the 75 minutes. Awesome job tonight. You got anybody you want to give a thanks to for helping get to the podium?
oh man, I mean, I have to thank all the boys at the DNA Motorsports. And I mean, I gotta, tell my wife to keep on fighting. She's still battling, and all that.
Well, hopefully she's watching it again tonight and seeing your success here, getting it up on the podium. And we, of course, wish her well as well. So congrats on the podium tonight, Ryan. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Excellent.
All right, everybody, that was DNA Motorsports, Ryan Reisman. Now let's bring in our winner in GTP this evening, driving for Phantom Power Motorsports, driving the number 20 Porsche. It is Dalton Fredericks.
All right, Dalton Fredericks, the overall winner tonight, coming out of GTP. And Dalton, you had some serious pace early on. The battle that you and Tanner Dibble had going there for a while that looked like it was a 5-lap sprint race, the way you guys were fighting it out. Tell a little bit about that fight and what it's like to then take that fight through 35 GTP or GT3 cars.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Great racing between the two of us. Very clean as well. But no, we had a great car all throughout the race, especially right off the get-go. We were able to compete very well, which surprised me. Yeah, just managed traffic all race and tried to stay clean and keep the pace up, but don't get over my head. So able to get on top and had a fun race.
Do you get a little nervous there? Is it winding down? You're sitting on a lead of nearly a minute, knowing that you pretty much have it, but you can't let your guard down. You can't get tangled with some lap traffic. How does that go through your mind through those last maybe 15, 20 minutes of this race, saying all I have to do is stay clean?
Yeah, it definitely wears on your mind a little bit. But my biggest thing was fuel. I was kind of real close on fuel, and I actually ran out right after I finished the race. I had to get a push all the way around on the cool down lap. But yeah, that was my biggest worry. Wasn't too worried about the traffic because it was pretty good for me all race. But yeah, definitely had to manage both.
And it tells me your pace was too fast. You went too fast, got too many laps in before the white flag came out. Maybe it's a sign of good things. But great job tonight. Great pace. It was a lot of fun to watch. And survival and get max points. So that's all got to feel pretty good. But I know you've probably got a team of friends and family helping you out along the way.
Oh yeah, I couldn't be more happy with the guys I'm with over at Phantom Power Racing. Great crew over there. I like to thank All Star 15 TV, Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast, BMS, all them guys over there. I appreciate all the support, and also Joe Hutchings. Big shout out to Joe Hutchings with the setup. Great setup. Hopefully we have another fast car in the next race, and maybe I might see you guys again.
That's off to a good start for sure. So congrats on getting the opening round win here at a GTP. Dalton Fredericks, congrats.
All right, Larry. Well, he must have smelt the maple syrup that I've got over here. Let's bring, because he just showed up in the green room. Let's bring in the Chevrolet Corvette driver from Orion Racing, tonight's winner in GT3, Mike Dam.
Mike Dam joining us, and don't worry, Mike, we're not going to make you sing "Back Home Again" in Indiana, but
there they go. The boys are like bright white sports cars.
Oh my gosh!
I'm going to let you go. You want to sing? I'll certainly allow it.
Keep going.
You earned it tonight. You can sing that victory song. You got the win tonight in the single largest field I've seen in the 4 years I've been calling these races, and it's hard to even argue this is the deepest field. When you see some of the names at the top, the middle, and the bottom, there's no easy place around these ranks. You get a win. They're going to be hard to come by, but getting off to one early in the season's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. This field's awesome. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. It's I haven't had a very good run here, so it feels good to be back. Yeah, really good season this year.
Yeah, well, we were watching this and we saw you got off to a good start. You and Bailey just kind of hung and just set a pace. You weren't really looking like you're trying to make any moves. Your teammate, of course, Travis, was right there with you guys. And then you make that pit stop. Were you expecting a quicker stop? Were you doing some fuel saving in the first half of the race?
Yeah, I could tell early that that the Mustang was quick on fresh tires. So I wasn't gonna push too hard. I just took care of my tires. Saved what fuel I could. I wasn't too pushy through traffic. I just wanted to stay within reach, and I was hoping for the over under there.
So how is I gotta ask, how's the Corvette? Because I'm not sure all your teammates are liking it maybe as much as the winner
doesn't like it.
I like it. It seems pretty even throughout a stint. It's clearly not the fastest at the start, but you just gotta take care of it, and it really doesn't feel all that different at the end if you take care of the overall balance of the car.
Well, that's good that you like it. You might want to convince that young teammate of yours that it's still a good car. He had his struggles. So did half of the field. So it's a rough night out there.
He'll get the pace. Just gotta turn some laps.
Yeah. But tonight was your night. Again, these wins may be tough to come by this season. You got to take them when you can get them. You earned that win tonight for sure. But I know that you guys have a big team and you got a lot of folks you probably need to thank for that.
Yeah, absolutely. All the guys in Orion putting in the work on the setup and stuff. It really felt good. So all the guys in the league, like you said, this year, really sweet field. It's really tight throughout, so you see the qualifying times it's pretty close. So yeah, thanks to Frank Rico, got a lot of his equipment. Kevin and Jeff and all the guys that put it together. Bobby Childs for doing all the awesome paints. Can't forget him. we certainly don't. Yeah, thanks to you guys for broadcasting.
All right, well, awesome job getting that win here in the opening round. Mike Damon even serenading us a little bit when he came in here. We appreciate that. We're looking forward to the
I
next
know you
one.
like it.
All right, nice job, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, there you go, everybody. Mike Dam from Orion Racing. All right, Larry, let's wrap things up. I don't even know if I have to go and tell everybody what we have coming up because they've been seeing the schedule for the last 10 minutes or so. But, of course, you can join us next Monday night for round number 2 of the Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge from Okayama. Once again, for our GT4 and LMP3 racers.
Then we go to Mike's home track.
That's right. Dual 35-minute races there. And then we head to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park to Mosport. That is going to be 2 weeks from tonight for round number 2 of the World Challenge. And then, although it's hasn't been up on that screen, September 30th, and unfortunately, Larry and I, well, maybe not unfortunately, it might be fortunate for you all. Larry and I are going to be off that night as we're working an event at Road America, at the real Road America. The Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge is going to be right here at the Indianapolis road course for dual 35-minute sprints for round number 3 of their series.
And don't worry, you'll have commentators for the race, even though Greg and I won't be here. Apex Broadcast, make sure Apex TV's got yourselves all set up. It'll be a good night for you.
Indeed. They won't tell us who it is, so we can't ruin the show for you, but rest assured there'll be somebody that will definitely take our job before the end of the year. Anyway, Larry, let's wrap things up here. Want to thank you. Want to thank Jonathan Grabowski. Want to thank all of our listeners and, of course, all the great folks with XMS Racing. If you want to find out more about how to get on grid, and a matter of fact, the Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge, they are going to be, they have registration still open. You can head on over to xmsracing/series/MSC, and you can be on the grid with the Ricmotech series and get all the adulation of Larry and myself when we call your races. But for Larry, for me, for John, thank you and everybody, and have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next week.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.